of week. Wedding are both saying that it's breaking up and they can't hear very clearly. So go ahead and comment again and let me know if you can hear now or if you're still not able to. I might have to reset the live feed. Let's see. Just let me know. But so I want to first tackle how to write your wedding invitations and how to word your wedding invitations. So I have a couple of things here. It's good now. Okay, thanks, Dora. Appreciate it. So I have a couple of things that I want to go over with you and look at, and just kind of give you an idea of how do you write your wedding invitations? How do you word things? And really, there are, just like in anything in wedding planning, there's no hard and fast rule, right? There's no like wedding committee that's going to come and tell you that you can't word your wedding invitations in a certain way. But understand this most important piece about wedding invitations, and that is the wedding invitation is just about the only thing that your guests will see prior to coming to your wedding. And so the wedding invitation really helps set the tone of the wedding. It helps to explain or to show in any way what your colors are, what your theme is, what you're going for. And I asked a bride the other day, actually, I said, what's your theme? And she goes, well, I don't really have a theme. And I said, just because you're not doing like Winter Wonderland or you're not having like a Harry Potter wedding doesn't mean that you're not having a theme. So you can have a theme that's based on like a movie or a book or a character, but then you can also have a theme that's based on things like a season, a color, an idea, a frame of mind, an emotion that you want to show. You know, are you having more of a relaxed party? Are you having more of like a hip sort of atmosphere? Is it more elegant? Is it more laid back? Those things can even be themes, quote unquote themes, as well. You don't have to specifically be like the Enchantment Under the Sea theme in order to have a theme at your wedding. So know that the wedding invitation really is the very first and sometimes the only thing that your guests will see prior to coming to your wedding. So the wording that you want to use and everything when it comes to the invitations, the paper that you use, the colors that you choose to use, the font that you use, you know, whether you put like an overlay on the invitations, whether it's printed, whether it's, you know, leafed, all sorts of things like that. All of that attributes to your theme, the feeling of your wedding, and giving your guests that kind of initial idea as to, you know, what it is that they're going to experience when they come to your wedding. So with that said, a great way to look at when it comes to wording your wedding invitations is I'm actually going to show it to you right here. You have the host line, the names, the information and location, and then additional information, and then a party party line? Oh, party line in terms of what the reception is going to be like. So let's go through each one of those, and I'll explain each one of those and give you a couple of examples as well. So the host line really is together with their families, or you know, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so request the pleasure of your presence at the wedding of their daughter, and then your name plus his name, etc. So you can do something like that. And then the name section really is your name, his name. And there's some back and forth, right? Between, does your name go on the top? Does his name go on the top? Do you, you know, how do you do that? How do you list that exactly? Traditionally, it depends on who's paying for the wedding or who's kind of financing the wedding more so. So again, traditionally, if a bride's parents are paying for more of the wedding, then their names would go first. But, you know, if they're not, or if you're paying for the wedding, you can put your name first, you can put his name first. Some people will even go as far as to print 2 different versions of an invitation, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend because it can get really expensive, but to print 2 different versions of an invitation where one is her name first and the other is his name first, or hers and hers, or his and his, or however, you know. So that's the names would be like the second line, and then the next part would be the invitation or the action line. So we, you know, cordially invite you to celebrate their marriage. We request the pleasure of your presence at the wedding of so and so, something like that. And then the information is usually going to be the date first, and then the time, and then the location of the wedding itself. And it really depends on how you want to do this. I just really liked the way that the address and the time and everything looked when I had it very clearly printed, very plainly. I wish I had one of my wedding invitations. I should have brought one with me. But some people like to have it written out. We'll literally write, you know, Sunday, October 5th, 2015. And instead of writing, you know, 2015 or 2016, they will actually write in letters, in words, 2015 or something like that, right? So again, it depends on how you want to do it. It depends on how formal or informal you want to be and your wedding is. And again, it's all about portraying a feeling. It's all about giving your guests kind of clues or hints as to what they're going to experience when they're attending your wedding. And then, of course, the address line, and then the party line is reception to follow. So if you're doing a full reception, you know, you could put dinner to follow, cocktails to follow, cake and coffee to follow, breakfast to follow. However you're doing it, you can put what comes after that. And then it's again entirely up to you, but I would strongly recommend it. If your wedding ceremony and your reception are going to be in 2 different locations, you want to write that on your invitation, or even include some kind of like an extra piece of paper that you can slip in there to say, you know, it's going to be at the ceremony is at one location and then the reception is at another. So I hope that helps and gets you started in terms of planning out your invitations, and I'm definitely going to include a few example invitations just written out to come in the next few days. So look for that if you need some help with writing out your invitations. And then next, I think it actually was Dora. I hope she's still on here. Let me know if you're still on. And anybody else who's on, I would love to say hi and see where you're calling in from and just see how everything is going for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comment section, and I'll get to them as soon as we're done. So I want to talk about next planning a candy bar or a candy display for your wedding. So something that I really love, where did it go? That's okay. Something that I really love is is the candy display can actually be a supplement for your what is the word I'm looking for your wedding favors, right? So you don't have to spend a ton of money on a beautiful candy display and then also do favors. You know, I actually, at my candy display, I had a little picture frame, and I created a picture that said, some for now, some for later, please help yourself. And then I had little like cellophane bags and all sorts of things that they could put different candies in the cellophane bags, and they could munch on them right there, which a lot of people did, and then take some home. In fact, I distinctly remember my young cousin, he would like go up to the candy bar, fill a bag full of stuff, go back to sit down, and then be like, Grandma needs one of these, and this person needs these, and my dad needs one. And by the end of the night, he had like 5 or 6 different little bags, which was super cute. But it's a lot of fun and a really great way that, you know, if you don't want to spend money on favors, or you don't want to, you know, spend money on favors and a candy bar at the same time, you really can use the candy bar as a way to give a favor, you know, to your guest, and they're actually going to like it, right? Who doesn't like candy? In fact, a tip for you is that my husband and I created little wedding coasters, little glass coasters that said Jillian and Michael, March 22nd, 2015, and it was super cute, but actually we kind of messed up in the sense that we should have put them at everybody's dining place on the tables, and like nobody took their favors. So we ended up, so if you do buy favors, put them in a place that's really, really obvious. We ended up taking a bunch of those home at the end of the night. So candy bar is a really, really great option for you if you want to do some kind of a candy display at your wedding. And so you can even go, if you just Google like Candy Warehouse, I think it's called Candy Warehouse or candywarehouse.com, or if you Google like candy or wholesale candy or something like that, there are plenty of websites that will have kind of pre-made, pre-packaged display things for you. The one at Candy Warehouse I think is like $250, and it feeds, I think it said like roughly 25 to 50 people, and it comes with all of the plastic jars, all of the scoops and pinchers, and all of the candy and everything kind of ready for you to just take out of the box, pour it in the jar, and set it on your display. And it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. If it's something you want to do, it will definitely save you a lot of time and a little bit of money for you to do that. Will definitely save you a lot of time. But if you want to take a step further, because none of that candy will be branded, right? You're looking at getting, you'll get like M&Ms, but they'll be candy coated chocolates with no M on it, right? Or no description of it. You'll get like sweet tarts, but they'll be wrapped in like a plain cellophane wrapper. You'll get things like that are non-brand candy, and they usually come, you can usually buy one of those packs in whatever color you want, like white, purple, pink, green, yellow, blue, orange, red, etc. So you can find one that fits with your wedding colors, which is actually really cool. But if you don't, you know, if you don't want to do that, or you want branded candy, or let's say like your husband absolutely loves Reese's Pieces or Snickers or something like that, right? And you want to include that as part of your candy display, then, you know, then you can actually go and get bags of that and create your own display, which is actually not that, it's really not that much more money. It just is a bit more time, quite a bit more time, and really just takes a little bit of creative effort on your part, but it will be absolutely beautiful. So if you don't want to go that route, and you're really looking to create a candy display that is your own and is unique, I would first determine what your budget is going to be, or what your budget per person roughly. And again, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to stick to it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but just get a rough estimate of how much money do you want to spend per person for the candy display. You know, are you comfortable with $2 a person? Are you comfortable with $5 a person? Whatever that might be. So then you times, you know, $5 by the number of attendees that you're anticipating at your wedding, or the number of guests, sorry, at your wedding. And then you have your budget. So say you have a $5 budget per person and you have 100 people attending your wedding, that's a $500 candy display, right? So you go from there to then figure out how much candy you need to buy, what kind of jars or vases or display things do you have to actually have this candy in. You'll need to get some kind of a table from your venue. I would highly recommend looking around your house and seeing, like, do you have like a big salad bowl? Do you have vases? Do you have jars? Do you have like mason jars or anything that you already have that you can use? I definitely recommend doing that first before you go out and buy a bunch of things for your candy display, because just think about it long term, right? You're not necessarily buying for just that day. Think about how you can use those things over and over again, or reuse things that you already have in your house to save a little bit of money as well. From there, get, you know, the bowls that you need, buy the candy that you need, anticipate if you buy like the cellophane bags that I think they usually come, they're about 3 or 4 inches wide by about 7 or so inches tall. If you figure that's going to hold maybe, I don't know, how much candy would something like that hold, right? Like probably less than 1/4 pound, just a little bit less. But if you figure that, then you can look at how much candy per person do you need, divided or times by the budget that you have and the amount of people that you're anticipating as well. And then you can figure it out from there. And do you have any sort of theme that you can follow in terms of your candy display? You know, do you want to do like an all chocolate display? Do you want to do Reese's and Hershey's and Snickers and things like that? Do you love, like my best friend loves gummies, so she and her husband would have, had they done a candy display, definitely would have gone like for Sour Patches and gummy bears and things like that. So think about, what is your favorite candy? What will your guests enjoy? Quick tip, I actually bought those candy buttons, those dots that come on like the long strings of paper. I bought a bunch of those for my candy display for my wedding, but I actually didn't buy enough because they went really, really fast. In fact, that was the first, the venue staff told me at the end of the night that that was the first candy that they didn't have any more of, that they people grabbed immediately. So it always ends up being the candy that you might not necessarily think that everybody's gonna love. I thought people were gonna go for the expensive chocolate covered pretzels, but they didn't. They ended up loving the little candy buttons. So just another tip, not only do you want to think about candy that you like, but think about what your guests are going to enjoy, especially. And something that I have created that is actually, I'm so excited about. I've actually created a 1-hour webinar that will walk you through step by step and literally inch by inch of my entire candy display for my wedding. And we'll show you what I got, how much it cost, where I got it from, how I displayed it, what worked, what didn't work, and what my budget was for my candy display. And it shows you everything step by step, piece by piece. And if you want to get that particular course, you can go here to bit.ly.com or bit.ly/MWPC-candy. Again, bit.ly/MWPC, my wedding planning course -candy. And you can actually get that course online right now. I think it's I think it's like $19, $17. But if you buy right now, if you buy tonight, I'm actually going to include my Truth Talk on Pinterest course, which is another webinar that I created that will walk you all through Pinterest, and it'll talk about how much things cost if you were to recreate them from Pinterest, how to go about looking through Pinterest, how to figure out what's what, and where to look at, what to stay away from, different things like that. So I hope you got value from this. If you did, please like, comment, and share. I would love to hear from you and hear your feedback as well, and I look forward to seeing you on the next Wedding Wednesday next week, right here on Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Bye.